Hi, welcome to Endless Fixations. My name is Julianne.
And I'm Jessica.
Today's topics are Jennifer's body and Zendaya's method dressing. But before we dive in, we just have to mention we saw the drama.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really good.
It was. I mean, I think I just liked the whole experience because we went to like a local cinema.
Shout out the park.
Shout out to the Park Theater in Vancouver. If you guys live here, you want to go.
Yeah, it was so cool. And all of the gasps and reactions and all of that really added to the experience.
I agree.
And also, like, don't go in knowing anything.
It was shock. And I think so many people since we've seen it have asked me like, oh, what's going on? What's the twist? I heard this, I heard that. I'm like, just don't. Just go see it. Like,
Shut
I
up.
understand.
You don't want to know.
Like, just go see.
Just go
Don't look
see
it up. Yeah.
I'm glad we went opening weekend too, because then we
Yeah.
avoided so many spoilers.
Exactly. And an A24 movie that I actually liked, so that's something. Probably
Yeah.
my second favorite, I guess.
What's it under?
Red Rocket.
Of course.
I love that movie.
I have to watch that.
Simon Rex. Dirt Nasty. For those who know, you know.
I also want to mention that in between recordings, I went to 3 concerts.
To one.
You did. Tell me about yours first.
Yeah, so I was like at work and someone I worked with was like, hey, my friend called in sick. Do you want to go to this concert with me? And I was like, what is it? And she said Cobra. And I was like, I don't know who that is. And then she was like, it's kind of like Charlie XCX. You like Charlie XCX? And I was like, yeah. And then I just went the day of.
Spontaneity.
And it was good. I mean, like, would I listen to this woman on the regular? No, but like the vibes were good. Everyone seemed very excited for her presence. And I was like, okay, everyone else is happy. That's good. You know, when you're like at a concert and you're like, everyone else is having such a good time.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a nice feeling. So that was the vibe.
Good energy. I love that so much.
And like not a lot of people taking videos or pictures, like people just in the moment dancing. It was really cool. Yeah.
God, I wish more people would be like that. It just makes you feel like more present in the moment and everything when other people are being present.
Exactly.
That's so awesome. I did know Cobra, so when you texted me about that, I was like, oh my God. Like, and then the other thing, I was like, how do I explain Cobra to you?
Yeah.
I guess it's sort of like brat, but like
sexy BDSM, like electro pop EDM vibe, I guess.
I would have totally gone to that with you if I wasn't at another concert, but that's just my life. I went to see Ray, but before that, the week before, I went to see Sarah Kinsley at the Hollywood, and that was such a lovely show. I went alone and had a great time. Love her music. Her EP Fleeting is really great, and yeah, that was solid. Then saw Ray the week after, and that was incredible. Probably my favorite concert out of the 3. Went with my mom, and then I told you this after the show ended because I was like given my all throughout the entire thing, like singing every word, dancing, crying, feeling every emotion. This guy at the end of the show, he was just like, I just have to say, your energy this whole show was amazing.
That's such a nice thing to hear.
So much better than saying like, oh, girl, you look hot today. It was like, I don't know. It just hit differently. It was like he complimented my aura.
Yes. Your vibe, your essence.
I love it. It was so nice. So it like the whole night was amazing, but it like, you know, the night ended on a positive note.
That's really nice.
And then the day after, because I'm insane, I went to another concert with Jana. We went to see FKA Twigs, and that was an experience. It was very avant-garde, very different, unlike anything I've ever been to. And I'm glad I got to go with Jana. We experienced that together.
That's nice. Yeah, going to that alone and you just being like, hello?
The amount of times we looked over at each other like, are you seeing this too?
That's how I felt when I saw MCR. I was like, is everyone seeing what I'm seeing right now? This is crazy. So,
is this really happening?
Or like,
you need to make eye contact with someone.
Remember when we saw Gaga and the guy beside you? I just remember it so clearly after Bad Romance, and he turns to us and he's like, we just saw Bad Romance live. And we were like, yeah.
That was one of my favorite moments the entire show. Oh my God. And that was at like the very end too.
Yes.
Like there was already so many crazy things that had happened.
Yes.
Anyways, I love that energy.
Me too.
You got to connect when you're at a concert because you're all experiencing it at the same time. Like, that's wild.
And presumably you're going to a concert of an artist you like and or love. So,
yeah, exactly. It's special. It's special. So anyways, that's what we've been up to since we recorded last. Okay, so I'm first today. Jennifer's Body is a cult classic 2009 horror comedy directed by Karin Kusama, written by Diablo Cody, and starring Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried. I finally learned how to pronounce her name. This is very exciting.
I've been wondering.
I wrote it down in my notes specifically in phonetics because I was like, I am not getting this wrong.
Not the whole time. No.
No. Okay. Fox plays Jennifer Check. She's the stereotypical queen bee of Devil's Kettle High School. She's hot, mean, and popular, and Seyfried plays her nerdy, mousy best friend, Anita Lesnicki, who everyone calls Needy. So basically the plot goes, after a human sacrifice by an indie band goes wrong, Jennifer becomes possessed by a cannibalistic demon and wreaks havoc on the small fictional town of Devil's Kettle, Minnesota. And the only person who can stop her is her best friend, Needy.
Lovely. And Adam Brody.
Who I will talk about, and it's very interesting how he got casted. You'll love it.
I'm thrilled.
So when it first came out in 2009, unfortunately, it was poorly marketed to a young, straight male audience. The posters and the trailers, they all leaned hard into Megan Fox's sex appeal. I mean, understandable. And constantly showcased the kiss between her and Amanda that happens in the movie.
Is this after Transformers?
This is after Transformers.
Gotcha.
Like almost like directly after Transformers.
Gotcha.
And I'll kind of talk about how, like, it was really interesting how, like, this movie came out at the time because of what was happening in her career. Like, it all kind of makes sense. There's sort of, like, a meta-ness to it all, in a way. Okay. So that was all framed entirely through the male gaze. And predictably, a lot of those men that they were catering it towards, they hated the film and they reviewed it poorly. And then that, in turn, hurt its box office performance. Here's the thing. This film was made by women with a female audience in mind. And in the years since its initial release, it's become a cult, queer, and bisexual favorite. And critics have since reevaluated it as a feminist classic. It explores toxic female friendship, compulsory heterosexuality, and the dehumanization and objectification of young women by a patriarchal society. It also just so happens to be my favorite movie of all time.
Yay!
So let me tell you about it. And I'm just going to warn everyone listening, spoilers will follow. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but like I came out in 2009, like get on it.
Get on it, guys.
Let's start with the screenplay. Jennifer's Body was written by Diablo Cody, a former blogger, stripper, and magazine columnist known for her darkly comedic writing, razor-sharp dialogue, and for creating deeply flawed, fascinating female characters. You might know her best as the woman behind Juno, the Oscar-winning coming-of-age dramedy about teenage pregnancy. It's safe to say that around this time, Diablo Cody was hot shit, and everyone was dying to know what she was going to do next.
Yeah.
But before all that acclaim started rolling in, she had already quietly set her next project in motion. And in 2007, the same year that Juno came out, Cody had already sold the script for Jennifer's Body to this company called Fox Atomic, they're now this defunct subsidiary of 20th Century Fox, which is now just 20th Century Studios. And then already attached was Megan to be the star.
Oh.
Megan signing on was especially important because the timing couldn't have been more significant at that part of her career. I was watching a bunch of different Q&As and interviews, and Megan said that she opened up about where she was mentally when she took the role, and she said that I felt like I was being persecuted at that time in my career. I was traumatized by fame, so I resonated with the deeper layers that were in the script. Before she was a monster, she was just a teenage girl who got sacrificed for somebody else's gain.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Megan had been overly sexualized and objectified almost from the very beginning of her career. She was in that Mary-Kate and Olsen movie, Holiday in the Sun. She was 15 at the time that was being filmed. And I just find her clothes a little revealing for a 15-year-old, you know?
Right.
She looks fabulous, but it's just a little weird, like, how they were kind of male-gazing her already as a teenager.
Yeah.
And she describes, like, a really traumatic moment I saw when she was on the set of some dude bro movie, and she was, like, a bikini-clad teenager in the background that was, like, in a shower.
Yeah.
She's traumatized.
Yeah.
It's not great. Things came to a head, though, when she landed the role that would make her a household name, and that was the Transformers franchise, directed by Michael Bay. This whole experience for her was incredibly toxic. In an article, she later compared Michael Bay to Hitler and described him as a nightmare to work with. And I remember when that stuff was being talked about at the time, like it was Megan was never shown in a positive light or like talked about in a positive way.
Not at all.
Just like they were like always calling her like vapid and like stupid and I don't know, on like tabloids and things. Do you remember that?
I do remember, and I remember it being like, she's a diva and she's, you know, difficult to work with. That's always the fun one they like to throw around. I remember like a lot of that. And like, I do remember in interviews at the time when like Transformers was coming out, she did seem kind of like annoyed or like she didn't want to like be vulnerable, which like in hindsight totally makes sense. But then like the public perceiving her like, oh, she seems like a bitch because she was acting like a bitch, but like it totally makes sense why now. But at the time you're like, what is this hot girl's problem?
Exactly. So after she compared him to Hitler, the fallout was pretty swift. Crew members published an open letter tearing her apart, and then she was subsequently fired from the franchise in like the most brutal, embarrassing way. And there were rumors that it was Steven Spielberg himself that actually pushed Michael Bay to fire her.
Wow. Steven, okay.
Yeah. Maybe Stevie ain't as nice as people think.
I mean, I have my own opinions about the man, so whatever.
So when Megan says that Jennifer's Body was exactly the film that she needed, it makes total sense. 100%. In her words, there were some moments while filming that required a lot of vulnerability. I don't think I went in prepared to show because it's so revealing about possibly my own past, my own childhood. There was something about having a circle of men standing over me, taunting me before they were going to kill me. It triggered something so deep in me that I was weeping.
I got chills.
I know. It was like so upsetting to realize like how much she was going through at the time. And like a lot of the emotions that she has in the movie are real.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't know. I think rewatching it is going to hit a lot differently. I'm sure. So production kicked off in 2008 once Karin Kusama came on board as director. She'd already built an impressive resume with Girl Fight and Aeon Flux, and I think she was the perfect choice. Her experience with the female gaze, combined with her fluency in action and queer storylines, it all made her an ideal fit. Amanda Seyfried was cast shortly after. She was riding high off of Mamma Mia fame. And then, okay, this is where Adam Brody comes in.
Yay!
So casting Nikolai, who's the lead singer of the emo band Low Shoulder, who, like, I'm honestly so sad is not real.
I know.
Or, like, based, like, obviously it's based on, like, an amalgamation of a bunch of different emo bands, but, like, their songs kind of went hard. Anyways, so that casting process was a lot trickier than everything else. The filmmakers were hoping to cast an actual rock musician with Pete Wentz of Fall Out Boy and Joel Madden of Good Charlotte. They were both at the top of the list.
That's so funny.
I know. Can you imagine if it was Pete?
He wouldn't, like, they wanted him, but, like, he wouldn't do it, right? Like, he didn't, like, audition and, like, didn't get it. Like, he wouldn't have done that. There's no way. There's no way. But I like to imagine in an alternate universe that it's Pete Wentz.
I could see it. If, like, he could act.
If he could act.
But, like, I could see it.
I don't
Well, well, anyways, it wouldn't have made sense.
No.
Because there's a Fall Out Boy poster in Jennifer's room. It would have been really weird.
Would have been really weird.
Okay. Also, Chad Michael Murray was in the mix as a possibility. That would have been rough.
Rough choice. Not an emo boy.
No. Ultimately, the role went to none other than Adam Brody, who is the iconic Nikolai. That guy liner, it just does the trick. All of it is so great. Even though he's evil, but like whatever, he's still hot.
Whatever, it's fine.
J.K. Simmons, who is also in Juno, Amy Sedaris, Kyle Gallner, and then a very early Chris Pratt was casted. When he was still fat and cute.
Chris?
So funny.
Oh, it's been so long since I've watched it. I don't even know if I would have had any thoughts when that happened. That's so funny.
He dies in the fire, so like you only see him at the beginning. Sorry, spoiler, but like, you know,
he dies.
Whatever. R.I.P. One fun little local note, filming actually took place right here in British Columbia.
Woo.
A variety of Vancouver schools were used for the interior and exterior shots of Devil's Kettle High. The women's prison that's at the start of the film is actually Riverview Hospital in Coquitlam. They film a ton of stuff there. And that dramatic sacrifice scene at the Devil's Kettle waterfall, that's actually Cascade Falls out in the Fraser Valley.
Yeah. Wow. We'll have to go.
Music is another incredibly important element in the movie. The soundtrack was produced by Fueled by Ramen. And it's
I didn't know that.
I know. So everything makes sense with who's on the soundtrack.
Totally.
So it's packed with indie rock, alt pop, and pop punk. Hayley Williams has a song on there. There's All Time Low, Florence and the Machine. And then one of our personal favorites, Death by White Lies, actually plays in it as well.
Hey, I love that song.
I know. And it's in so many of our favorite horror movies. So
yeah,
like
that's
that.
funny. Oh.
It plays while Needy and Chip are making out, and it's like a very important scene because it's like it shows how Needy and Jennifer are like almost psychically connected. It's very interesting. So now it has like that song has multiple layers. I think of Jennifer's body, and I think of A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. So yeah. Okay, the lead single for the soundtrack was New Perspective by Panic at the Disco, and that plays in the background while the characters are getting ready for the school dance. This was actually the first song that Panic released after Ryan Ross left the band, so it's a very divisive one for fans, which I'm sure you're going to talk about. I personally love it, and I still listen to it, and I remember at the time buying the single on iTunes, just the single.
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
And I was just like obsessed with it and everything, and I would play it on my little iPod. So,
yeah, it was a tough time in the emo. It was a tough time in the emo community when Ryan Ross left Panic. Many have not recovered. So
many are still in mourning.
Many still mourn the man and the band that could have been.
Yeah,
I don't have many thoughts. I don't like post Ryan Ross Panic, so I don't love the song, but at this point as an adult, also don't. I could get into it, but like I'm like at this point as an adult, I don't care.
I can't wait to hear you talk about it a little bit more if you like ever do like a deep dive on one of their albums.
I totally would.
Like I could totally see that. So
yeah.
I'll save it for then. You know.
Yeah.
So Jennifer's Body premiered at TIFF and it hit wide release on September 18th, 2009. It was made on a $16 million budget and grossed $31.6 million worldwide, which sounds fine, but the studio considered it a commercial failure.
Yeah.
Opening weekend told the story, and this is ridiculous. It came in at number 5 at the North American box office, behind Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And like a bunch of other stupid movies no one's even talks about anymore. So not exactly what they were hoping for. And honestly, a huge part of that comes down to the mismarketing. So Kusama and Cody made this film for women, for teenage girls specifically, but the studio marketed it almost entirely to teenage boys. They plastered the kiss between Megan and Amanda all over the promotional materials, and the posters featured Fox in a cheerleader uniform she never actually even wears in the movie.
Yeah.
So they were selling a movie that didn't exist to an audience that was never meant to understand it.
Yeah. And as we know, like, teenage girls are the ones who make things popular, so
exactly.
It's an interesting marketing scheme, I guess.
And I have some theories that I'll like list as to why they mismarketed it so poorly, but I don't know. It's just a lot of people dropped the ball. Okay, so a lot of the male critics, they criticized it for not being sexually explicit or scary enough. Jeffrey Anderson wrote, Jennifer's Body is not funny, nor is it sexy. The girls keep their clothes on, nor is it scary. Yeah. Ooh. Peter Howell claimed that boys hoping to see Fox in something less than tight clothing would be swallowing a bitter pill. And our fave, Roger Ebert, he called it Twilight for boys, which couldn't be farther from the truth. It's like, have you even seen Twilight?
Have you even seen Twilight?
Yeah.
I hate that man.
And he notes that he recalls that at least in Twilight, Robert Pattinson was shirtless. And that's kind of gross. So misogyny runs deep. A lot of reviewers also criticized Megan's acting, but I got pushed back on that. Like, her performance is incredibly underrated, in my opinion.
I think her performance is the best thing in that film.
It's the whole thing that carries it. The film wouldn't be as, I know, it's insane. Her line delivery is flawless. Her transition from like a naive teenager to a terrifying monster is perfect. No one else could do it.
Yeah.
And like, as I mentioned before, she was dealing with genuinely emotional things. So like the vulnerability that she's experiencing is real. It's genuine. Ugh, it's so stupid. There are a few other theories about why it underperformed. Fox Atomic, they shut down that same year. So rather than passing the film to like Fox Searchlight, who had just guided Juno to award season and everything, they just folded it into 20th Century Fox. And so that wasn't the right home for it. And then the R rating that it was given, that didn't help either. So like it was a teen-centered story and it was intended for a teen audience, but they couldn't even get into the theater to watch it. DVD sales were better, obviously.
That makes sense,
but like it doesn't matter in the whole scheme of things if it doesn't do well at the box office. And the other thing, like not so much now, but at the time, horror comedies were one of the hardest sells at the box office.
They still are.
Kusama has since spoken openly about that disappointment. She said, "It was disappointing that Jennifer's Body didn't reach its initial audience, but does it surprise me that people have discovered it now? Fuck no." So considered ahead of its time and widely misunderstood on release, it's now recognized as a feminist, queer, and bisexual classic. Starting with the feminist lens, in the wake of the Me Too movement, the film has now been reframed as revenge horror. In a piece for Vox that I couldn't fully read because it was behind a paywall, and like I'm kind of sick of this, guys. Like, let me, if I'm gonna, I'm reading, I'm researching.
Yeah,
I'm an academic.
I know.
It's ridiculous. In a piece for Vox, Constant Grady argues that once Me Too shed light on sexual misconduct in the industry, the central premise of Jennifer's Body, a group of powerful men sacrificing a girl's body for their own professional advancement, that became uncomfortably familiar.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Kusama has also spoken beautifully about female solidarity and the power of friendship that's at the film's core. So while Jennifer and Needy's relationship is often read as toxic, I mean, I can kind of see it that way, but I personally see their bond in the movie as something really special. Like it's a friendship that's rooted in genuine love since childhood. They become friends in the sandbox. Like, that's forever. And that's like a whole thing. Yeah. And that makes it like the ending of the movie actually so much more devastating. But I'm not going to spoil. So the director puts it this way, and this is a pretty incredible quote. This was like all from the same Q&A too. It was like at the Academy Museum where they did a retrospective, and they got some really good questions and they had some really thoughtful answers. So this was one of them. Kusama said, "The patriarchy only works if it makes good soldiers out of its women. So much of the underlying nightmare of their relationship is that they both truly love and understand each other, but can't feel permission to truly bond in solidarity. That only comes after tremendous literal sacrifice of a person. Even though the film is this crazy comedic horror exploration of that notion, I hope it becomes clear that when largely unremarkable, untalented people who are willing to sell their soul to the devil for success and power enact that sadistic fantasy, eventually someone comes knocking. And in this case, it's Needy in defense of the woman she lost, Jennifer."
My God.
I know.
Jesus Christ. It's crazy.
If someone sacrificed you and you came back from the dead, Jessica.
Yeah. But I'd be okay with it because it was Adam Brody.
That's so true. You'd actually be kind of into it.
That's just me though. that's just a thing about me.
You'd be like, thanks, Adam. Now we can be together forever.
Forever. I'm going to haunt you. Make you love me.
The other thing that's cool about it is the way that the film plays with genre conventions. So Jennifer is the beautiful popular girl who's the type in classic horror, in a lot of horror movies, she would generally be the first to die. And technically she is, but coming back from the dead kind of flips that entirely, right? So she becomes the predator, and then all of her victims are men. So it inverts the traditional horror dynamic completely. And I found this all really interesting, and I was trying to understand it from a theoretical lens, I guess. And I mentioned this book to you, but while researching for this episode, I came across a ton of references to a 1993 book called The Monstrous Feminine by Barbara Creed. It's a theoretical framework that identifies 7 types of monstrous femininity that recur throughout horror cinema. I won't go through them all, but I'll just mention the two that are directly connected with Jennifer's body. And then I'll send you the rest. Or I'll talk about them on the Instagram. I'll figure something out. Yeah, that might be kind of fun. The two that apply directly to Jennifer, though, are the possessed monster and the femme castratrice. They are a vengeful female figure who transforms from a victim of abuse into an agent of castration against her abusers.
I spit on your grave.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. And I love revenge horror. Like, so much of it works for me. I don't know if it's your fave, though. You don't tend to love them.
I don't think I like them.
I don't think you do.
Spoiler, I don't love Jennifer's body. So.
I know.
We're so different. Yeah, I don't know if it is for me. I'm trying to think of other ones, and I'm like, I didn't like I Spit on Your Grave, for example.
What about the possessed monster vibe? Do you kind of like that? So that would be like The Exorcist.
That. Yeah.
Other examples, but I can't list them all. We'd be here forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like a possessed monstery vibe.
It's kind of great. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that Jennifer's Body is also now embraced as a queer and bisexual classic. So beyond the iconic kiss, much of the queerness lives actually in the subtext. The script is full of great lines, too, like when Needy says to Jennifer, "I thought you only murdered boys," and Jennifer responds, "I go both ways."
Iconic.
So good. The script is just like, it's so incredible. Rivals The Social Network for me, which is crazy.
Wow.
I think it's one of the best scripts of all time.
That's so interesting. Because for me, I'm like, I hate Diablo Cody.
A lot of people do. She's a divisive figure.
Yeah, I know that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me, but for someone like you.
For me. Other ones, "You're totally lesbi gay," or I love this one. "Do you buy all your weapons at Home Depot? God, you're butch."
I love that one.
And then there's also, like, in that kiss scene, there's, like, the part where Jennifer says to Needy, where she's like, "We can play mommy and daddy like we used to." So there's, like, a ton of subtext, a lot of, like, have they, like, explored things with each other? Like, all of that is, like, up to your interpretation, except for the kiss, obviously. But beyond the dialogue, the film's queer reevaluation really comes alive through its metaphors and parallels. And this was, like, fully in my research. I had never even considered any of this, but these were a couple ones. So, essay collection, It Came from the Closet, which you gifted me, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
Carmen Maria Machado directly addresses the queer-baiting allegations the film sometimes receives. She argues it isn't trying to depict a lesbian relationship. Instead, it captures something far more specific, what it means to experience parallel sexualities with your best friend as a teenager, and what she calls the, quote, central body of water that is bisexuality, which really recontextualized it all for me. Because, like, a lot of people... They think that Jennifer is actually a lesbian who's, like, repressing her sexuality, and Needy might be bisexual, but she's repressing that by, like, with compulsory heterosexuality by being with Chip. I mean, there's so many readings. And then in another one, in A Piece for Broken Antler, Ziana Ruya, she draws attention to Needy's opening monologue where she's in a psychiatric institution receiving letters that are telling her everything will be okay if she just accepts Jesus Christ. So on the surface, these are referencing her crime that she commits, that the movie explains. But Ruhia points out this directly echoes what so many in the LGBTQ plus community have been told, that everything will be fine if they just reject their queer identity and give up who they are and accept Jesus Christ into their heart.
Totally.
I like that reading.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Layers.
Right? The last thing I want to touch on is something Megan Fox herself brought up. She's noticed a lot of speculation online about which demon possesses Jennifer. And being the goth icon that she is, her take is that it's Lilith.
Yes.
So let me tell you about this legendary figure. Love her. So Lilith is rooted in Mesopotamian and Jewish mythology. In Hebrew texts, the name translates variously as night creature, night monster, night hag, or screech owl.
Screech owl.
I like that one. But she's best known today as a vampiric figure and arguably one of the first femme fatales in recorded mythology, which I thought was kind of interesting. So according to medieval Jewish folklore, Lilith was cast out of the Garden of Eden after she refused to submit to Adam. She then became a demon said to seduce pious men and devour their children. But this was almost certainly designed as a cautionary tale to enforce female submissiveness and to have men be afraid of, like, women that talk back, basically. But that narrative has since been completely reclaimed. Lilith is now celebrated in Wiccan traditions as the first mother and a goddess of womanhood and sexuality. And in modern culture, she's been reimagined as a feminist icon, representing independence, sexual autonomy, and rebellion against patriarchal authority.
Full circle.
I know. Full circle moment for her. Love Lilith. And honestly, she was kind of right. Like,
yeah.
How dare you? Don't tell me what to do.
Literally. Adam.
I'm not submitting to this dude. Like, I don't know him. So the parallels to Jennifer's body are pretty hard to miss. Like Lilith, Jennifer is expelled from her former self and then returns as a cannibalistic vampiric force.
Yeah,
and she preys specifically on men. She doesn't eat babies, but, like, you know.
That we know of.
That we know of. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And I was like, I like to see it like that. And if Megan thinks it's that, then it is.
Then it is. Then so it be.
Then so it be. So to wrap up, this is the film that made me fall in love with horror. It was genuinely formative for me while I was figuring out my own bisexuality as a teenager. And I probably rewatch it, like, at least once a year. It's my favorite movie. Like, I still quote it constantly, and I will absolutely be getting a Jennifer Check tattoo at some point in my life.
Yeah.
I want the one of her, like, lighting her tongue on fire.
Iconic.
It'd be so awesome. So iconic. Yeah, that's Jennifer's body for you.
Wow. Clap, clap, clap.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Yeah, because, like, I love Megan Fox in the movie. I think she's fantastic. So it's interesting that you said that, like, people were bashing her performance, and I'm like, she's the best part of the movie for me.
I know. It's ridiculous.
It's like, it doesn't really work for me, and I'm blaming that on Diablo Cody because I also don't like Juno, and I didn't like that Lisa Frankenstein one. So it's like she's just not for me. Yeah. But I'm like, but Megan Fox makes the whole movie, in my opinion.
I know.
So that's very
I think that's just hating to hate. Like, I really don't think, like, there's any reason to say that. It's, like, just people just being like, we hate women. Let's just hate on them.
Yeah, we hate hot women, unfortunately.
We hate hot women. Exactly. Like, get an original thought.
Literally. You didn't talk about my amazing detective skills.
What? Oh, yeah, you're amazing. Oh, my God. Yes, I forgot. There's a bunch of posters that are behind Jennifer in her bedroom. Mm-hmm. And I, like, front and center is so obviously Fall Out Boy, but there's a bunch of other band posters around, and they're, like, the lighting is so terrible. And I was trying to find a better photo, but it doesn't exist. Anyway. But you used your, like, excellent sleuthing. I don't know what you did, but you figured out, like, 5 band posters.
I know.
Tell me what they were. I can't remember.
So it was Panic at the Disco from the Pretty Odd era, which totally makes sense because they're on the soundtrack. Yes. Escape the Fate was on there. Motion City soundtrack. And Gallows. Yes. I don't know what that is, but it said it on the poster. So that one was easy to find. I was very happy with the Panic at the Disco one because the image was very small.
It was so tiny. I was like, I couldn't even find the photo on the wall that you used to ref. I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was incredible.
That's my emo knowledge.
It's incredibly helpful. Many occasions.
Yeah. It's a useful skill. I don't know what to tell you.
It is.
Okay. So today I'm going to be talking about Zendaya and Law Roach and method dressing. And if you're one of those people who is listening and you're like, what is method dressing? Who is Zendaya? Who is Law Roach? What is Jessica talking about? I will explain it all.
Oh my God. Are you living under a rock? Like, come on.
People, get with it.
She's a movie star. Anyways.
So when I was looking this up, because I was like, where did this term method dressing even come from? And it was honestly pretty murky, and I, like, couldn't really find out when or why people started talking about it. What I could find for the most part was the term method dressing originated from this Vogue contributor / writer Andre Wheeler, and he said it in 2023.
Okay.
So recent thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Very modern.
So what it is, Cosmo described it as when an actor takes their film aesthetic and thematic elements, plot, props, scenery, character arcs, and channels it in sometimes incredibly literally into the red carpet looks. Right. So method acting is when you're, doing everything like your character off screen and to like build the character on screen. Yeah. But then the method dressing is you're dressing like your character to kind of sell the movie.
That makes sense. Yeah. I never even thought of it that way.
Yeah. So most people assume it's a newer thing. The most famous example being Margot Robbie's press tour for Barbie, which was in 2023. So I think that's why they're like, we have to come up with a term for this because of the Barbie of it all. So for Barbie, she dressed like Barbie. Lots of pinks, but then she also like specifically recreated exact looks from super famous Barbie models. She did like the swimsuit Barbie. She did like 80s superstar Barbie. Like she did it all.
There were so many good ones.
Yeah. So in a W magazine interview from 2024, Law Roach, who is a fashion stylist, fashion architect, celebrity looking architect person. I don't know. He's
whatever he wants to call himself.
Whatever he himself. He's best known for his work with Zendaya, Celine Dion, and Ariana Grande. He said, many think theme dressing started with Barbie and that press tour. And then the magazine noted that he seemed slightly annoyed by this, which in this case is honestly kind of warranted because he's been doing it for a very long time.
Okay.
So the first example that he talks about and that people talk about is Zendaya's looks for The Greatest Showman, which was in 2017.
That's true.
So I'll get into those looks after. I'm still gonna like talk about what method dressing is. And then the W magazine interview pointed out that the modern iteration of theme dressing, it's all likely thanks to Law Roach. He's the guy who started it all. So then I understand his annoyance with like everyone's talking about Barbie, and he's like, me and Zendaya have been doing it. What are y'all talking about?
He's just so drama. It makes me laugh.
So drama. I mean, I didn't look into or write any of this, but it's interesting that Law Roach and Zendaya are both Black people, and they've been doing it for a very long time. And now this beautiful white blonde lady for a beautiful white blonde thing, Barbie, all of a sudden it gets all the attention. I mean,
yeah, no, that's a really good point.
So I read this Vogue article, which I wasn't behind a paywall because I'm a Vogue subscriber.
Okay, bougie. I thought I was bougie.
So this Vogue article pointed out the earliest example of this kind of method dressing was Gina Davis in 1992 for the premiere of A League of Their Own. She wore a Nicole Miller dress with baseball stitching on it. So it literally looks like a baseball, and she wore it to the And like, I'm sure this inspired Zendaya's tennis-themed looks for challengers.
Right. Yeah, no, totally.
Which I will get into later, but La Roche has also mentioned the Nicole Miller baseball dress that Gina wore. So
she's just saying.
Okay. So before I continue on, I'm also going to introduce who Zendaya is because it feels like a good time. So for me, she's basically the best and like most prolific actress of our time right now.
Literally.
She started off on Disney Channel on the show Shake It Up, but she got really famous when she started being in the new Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland in 2017. And then she was in the HBO show Euphoria in 2019, which she won 2 Emmys for and is so far the youngest performer to win for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series.
Period.
Hello. She's in a
Hello.
bunch of other movies, which I'm going to go over the press tour looks for Dune, Challengers, The Greatest Showman, The Drama. And I think a big part of her fame and why she's so famous, yes, she's an incredible actress and she's in huge movies, Spider-Man, Dune, but I think it's also because of the red carpet looks. It's because she's a fashion girl. It's because she's doing the whole method dressing thing. It's adding to her fame because so many people are talking about it, and it's just making her like an A-list celebrity, super famous, you know?
Absolutely. It's like Rihanna level at the Met Gala. Like people are expecting big things from her every time, and she hasn't disappointed, or her and Law Roach, they haven't disappointed us yet.
Exactly. So yeah, all the other previous method dressing looks before Zendaya were very subtle nods versus full-on intentional orchestrated looks. I found one website, The Style Historian, pointed out Angelina Jolie dressing on theme for Maleficent in 2014, but she was just kind of wearing lots of black, spiky shoes.
Sure.
Which she kind of always wears anyways. But like looking back, her and Elle Fanning kind of were dressing on theme for Maleficent, I would say.
Yeah.
However, the style historian points out, and I agree with, while Law and Zendaya weren't the first to do it, they are on a completely different level and have brought it to the mainstream.
God. Yeah.
And then when I was looking up what method dressing was, I think Cosmo made a really good point that I hadn't considered before, is that we expect this from musical artists. We expect it from Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo. They're all doing specific looks for tour. They're doing like specific themes for full album cycles, which includes all the marketing, the promotion, interviews, Instagram. And now it's kind of just making its way into the film industry and the press tour stuff. And I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, honestly, but it's interesting that it's happening now.
I guess like the social media of it all adds to like the extra interest.
Yeah. And then I found this designer, Ugo Mosey. They said, I believe that fashion is becoming more bold and intentional again. So it's giving stylists and talent the opportunity to have fun again and dig into their creative bag. Which, we've kind of been in this spot of a lot of beige, a lot of boring, clean girl makeup, clean girl aesthetic, only wearing bodycon dresses, everyone dressing like Kim Kardashian. And so it does feel like we're kind of going in a different direction where things are becoming more fun again. Absolutely. And so this just leads into that, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now I'm going to talk about Law and Zendaya.
Yay. Our people.
So they started working together when she was still at Disney. Law was friends with her dad/manager's friend, and he began styling her back in 2011. Their first collab was when she attended the premiere of Justin Bieber's Never Say Never.
Stop it. Oh my God. That's so cute. I didn't realize that they've been together for so long.
So long.
Oh my God. They're
crazy.
Like family.
And then Law said that there was a specific look that started all the frenzy when people started paying attention to Zendaya more, and it had a viral moment at the time. So it was this bright yellow and blue Munico. I couldn't find the pronunciation of it. I looked up all of the designers to make sure I was pronouncing them right, and I couldn't find this one. Anyway, so
they're ridiculous sounding. Like I don't even know how you're supposed to get them right. Like
I
whatever.
don't know either.
They say sound it out, but it looks different.
It was a coat that she wore during New York Fashion Week in 2014. He said she got out of the car, nobody knew who she was, but then we started walking up the steps of the Lincoln Center, and there was one photographer, and then there was 3 photographers, and then there was 6, and then there was 12. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
So on the Instagram, I will post the photo of the coat.
Yes.
So all
get a visual.
See. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, Law styled Zendaya for her Met Gala debut in 2015, and he's done all of her Met Galas since, including in 2019 with the glow-up Cinderella-inspired gown by Tommy Hilfiger, which itself was method dressing. Law said the story is that she was leaving Disney, and this was right before Euphoria premiered. So this was like the chance to pay homage to her career as a Disney princess. And then we knew when Euphoria premiered that people would see a whole other side to Zendaya, the actress.
Oh my God. Yes.
So it was like on theme for the Met Gala, but then they had their own theme going on. They're thinking of everything.
I love it. It's telling a story, darling.
Story. And I mean, her Met Gala looks have been incredible. I mean, the Joan of Arc one, insane.
Oh my God. It's so good.
She's just incredible. And it's like Law Roach is helping her be incredible, you know?
They're like elevating each other in terms of like their vision.
Their vision, yeah. So in 2021, Zendaya won the Fashion Icon Award at the Council of Fashion Designers of America, CFDA. And she said this: thankfully, when I was 14, I found my co-director of sorts, one who saw what I did and sometimes more than I could have ever imagined on my own, that being La Roche. My fashion soulmate, historian, and constant inspiration. Thank you for pushing me to see all of myself and teaching me how to do so fearlessly. Every time we get dressed, we treat it like a film. We bring to life a new protagonist, one with their own narrative, their own backstory, their own personality, so that the shy little girl in me can live out all the things I dream through them.
My God, that's so lovely.
I know. So it's like, she describes herself like this all the time, that she's very shy, she's very introverted, but then she gets on these carpets and she's a total badass bitch. Like,
oh my God.
she looks incredible, and it's because they're orchestrating like a film. They're like thinking of the character of the person that she's going to be, and then she's able to like lock in. And I just think that's so interesting.
I love watching her lock in. When I see actual videos of her on these carpets and the way she poses, there's no better poser.
She's no one's doing it like her. She's amazing.
No one is. They can try, but they never will.
Okay. So now I'm going to go and like a film by film breakdown of like the method dressing.
Yes.
I'm going to do my best to describe the clothes, but
there will be accompanying visuals on Instagram.
Exactly. This is an audio format, and I'm talking about something that is very visual. So I'm going to do my best, but I would check out our Instagram account for sure.
At Endless Fixations Pod.
Yes. So if you want to see things, that's where it'll be. I'll make multiple posts, I think. There's a lot to cover. The Greatest Showman came out in 2017 and was a musical about P.T. Barnum, who created the Barnum and Bailey Circus. Zendaya's character is an acrobat and trapeze artist, so that sets the stage for the method dressing that follows. So for the press tour look, Zendaya and Law seem to really focus on bright colors and patterns to go with the circus aesthetic, which makes sense. I actually couldn't find a lot of resources that talked about the looks in depth compared to the things now, because everyone's writing about every single look that she has.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. She wasn't as famous then. Method dressing wasn't a thing then. And this movie press tour looks were kind of the first time that they had the idea and were kind of doing a trial run of method dressing. So for the Greatest Showman premiere in Mexico City, Zendaya wore a red shiny blazer by Ralph Lauren with pants and a white button-up, which really gave circus conductor. I'll have pictures of it on the Instagram, but it's like the whole press tour look is giving circus.
Oh my God, I love it.
And the standout from this press tour is definitely the Moschino butterfly dress that she wore for the premiere in Sydney. So for her life and looks in Vogue, she said, "With Law and I, we always find inspiration from films that I'm doing. A butterfly isn't the theme per se, but it's the idea of being costumey. You're the greatest showman. Everything is drama." And so that's what this dress was to me. It's being literal, being dramatic, being entertaining.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that goes along with the rest of the looks. They're all very dramatic, lots of bold colors, bright red, green, orange patterns. She had a look for the Today Show that she wore orange and yellow polka dots and a lot of stripes, which all give circus. She had like pants with stripes, coats with stripes. And I think at the time, nobody really connected the dots between
they didn't know what to look for.
But looking at it now, when I just found, I think it was from Vanity Fair, they just had all the photos in order. I'm like, yeah, this all goes together. It totally tells a story, and it totally makes sense with the film. So then after The Greatest Showman, she's cast in Spider-Man.
Right,
so she's in all 3 of the released Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. The 4th one is coming out in the summer.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Can't wait for the press tour logos. Can't wait for the movie. So the first one was released in 2017, so the same time as Greatest Showman. Far From Home was released in 2019, and No Way Home was 2021. So I think when I was looking at all of the Spider-Man looks, I don't think all of them were on theme in the same way that she's doing now, but there was some very Spider-Man standout looks, especially from the No Way Home era. So that was in 2021. So that kind of makes sense time-wise. However, Far From Home, she dyed her hair red for the press tour, even though her character doesn't have red hair. It was a nod to the comic book version of MJ. Yeah. So that's cool. And the most notable look from that press tour was the Armani Privé dress, which was black and red and had a diamond shape that looked kind of like the Spider-Man logo.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember that one.
But then for No Way Home, she did the following. She did a Robert Cavalli dress when she went to this football awards thing in Paris, and it had this metal spine detailing. So the spine, it is cut out of the dress, and it's metal, and it looks like a spine, and it has these I think it's snakes or lizards or dragons on top of it.
My God.
And it's a reference to Dr. Octopus.
Yes.
Obviously.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
For Graham Norton, she wore a Valentino suit that was purple and green, which was a nod to the Green Goblin.
Of course.
And then for the premiere in Los Angeles, she wore a plunging embroidered gown made by Valentino that had this intricate spider webbing over the whole gown.
My favorite. It's
she
so
had
good.
an
I
eye
can see
mask to
it.
go with the look. It was giving
Yes.
Spider-Man. It was giving
It was
superhero.
so good. Oh my
Yes.
God. Sorry, I'm just like envisioning it in my brain.
Yes.
Didn't she also have her braids in as
Yes.
well?
Yeah. Well,
She
long
looked
braids.
so.
And I think like this is probably the time when people are like, oh, she's doing something because it's Spider-Man, spider webs. Like it was an easy one to connect the dots.
Because people need like literal examples, of course.
Yeah. And then for the London premiere, she wore an Alexander McQueen double-breasted gray jacket with crystal raindrops and matching boots. And it has a spider feel to it because the raindrops and the way they're on the jacket and the boots almost look like webbing, but like not quite. Yeah. It's not as literal as the webbing dress before, but they did put a pair of dangly spider web earrings to complete the look, so you didn't get lost. you understood what was going on.
Didn't get lost in the look. No, I love it. Ugh.
Yeah, so that was Spider-Man, and then we're gonna talk about Dune.
Yes, let's go.
Part 1 and Part 2. What do you say? Part 1,
Yes.
Part 2, or Dune 1, 2? Part 1, Part 2? Dune
Whatever.
1, 2? Okay,
I
didn't know.
I just call it all Dune.
Dune.
It's all Dune. It's one big story, guys.
That's true, actually. So
right?
The first Dune movie came out in 2021. So this is the same time as No Way Home. I just feel like at this time they were really ramping it up. They were getting noticed for the looks. Zendaya is becoming a bigger star. This is after Euphoria's out, and people are talking about her red carpet looks a lot more. Grazia magazine, which is an Italian women's magazine, said that the Venice Film Festival look is the moment when they knew that Law Roach and Zendaya meant business. So these looks pop up on our social media feeds and basically dominated all aspects of the pop culture sphere when they were debuted, and rightly so. So she wore a custom Balmain molded dress. So it like looks wet on her, and she's got like the wet looking hair. And from her life and look, she said it's the landscape of Dune. It's the color palette. It's kind of like a shell. It looks wet, but it's dry. There's something that reminded me of the still suit a little bit, but it's just in construction. It felt like Dune.
100,000%.
And for the whole press tour, she's wearing lots of brown, lots of sandy colors, rusty oranges and reds. In London, she wore this amazing Vivienne Westwood outfit where the top is made of a bunch of chains. And then she's wearing like a checkered skirt that looks weathered. It has this kind of like desert Mad Max sort of vibe. Yeah.
So good.
It's so good. Another standout from the first Dune press tour was the Rick Owens gown she wore to the UK special screening. From her life and look, she said, I don't know if it was reminiscent of the sandworm or there's something I think about Rick Owens in general that feels very futuristic or otherworldly. So it's this cream-colored, one-shoulder sculptural piece with thousands of sequins all over it. So it's very interesting, like, how it's constructed, which gives the sci-fi vibe.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like it's got this big, I don't even know how to describe it. It's got this big thing on the front of the dress. It's got these weird, like, curves and, like, angles to it. I don't know, like, you look at it and you're like, yeah, sci-fi.
Yeah, like how defies?
Yeah,
how do they make it in this timeline?
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
That's the vibe that it gives for sure.
Yes. Ugh, so cool.
How does one describe sci-fi? You know, like it's
hard.
It's hard.
It's fiction, but it's science,
and it just has a vibe to it.
It's got a vibe.
So then Dune Part 2 came out in 2024, and then this is after the Barbie press tour. And the world at large is aware and interested in method dressing at this point.
And I also have to make a point, unless you make it already, Timmy was also starting to do method dressing.
Yes, he was.
So when they start method dressing together for this press tour, you guys, beautiful things happen.
Exactly.
Anyways, which I'm sure you'll mention. Like, there's a few where they like team. Anyway, go on.
So I don't know if at the time, if Law and Zendaya had it in their minds that this was becoming more of like a cultural phenomenon with the Barbie of it all. And I don't know if they began thinking about it, but oh my God, the Dune 2 press tour looks. Like, I think
they're insane.
After this point, and like, so after this is Challengers and the drama, it's like the whole press tour is on theme. Everything is like at a 10. Like, it is crazy. It's definitely giving sci-fi meets high fashion. There's lots of cutouts. There's lots of interesting shapes. Like, there's a lot going on, and it all just makes sense.
Yes.
It's cool.
It's cool.
So for the New York premiere, she wore a Stefan Roland Couture long-sleeved white dress, which had a cutout down the center, and then the cutout went across her hips and then down both of her legs. The bottom of the dress had like these 3D gold pieces. I feel like kind of look like mushrooms. She had the big, voluptuous, curly hair. Like,
yes.
Incredible.
Like, I'm just speechless.
Yes. I know. It's like, how do you even describe how cool this is?
And it's she's like also just like smoking hot and beautiful, and her body is incredible. Like, we have to mention, like, this is one of the most beautiful women in history and cinema history. And the way that like clothes fall on her is just, it's magic. So it's like, at that, I don't know. It just elevates everything.
Like, she's a model. She looks like
she's
a model.
model. Yeah.
But she's an actress. But she looks like if she didn't want to be an actress, she could have been a model. Like, she looks 1,000%. Incredible.
No, she'd be Naomi Campbell level supermodel.
Exactly. Exactly that.
She's a really good actress, so she doesn't need to do that.
She gets
no hate to Naomi.
No,
sorry.
Of course.
Yeah.
No hate.
She's not listening.
What if she was? I would die.
I would die.
So then in Korea, she wore this 2-piece skirt suit, which was an archival Givenchy from the fall-winter 1999 collection, designed by Alexander McQueen at the time. So it has this futuristic electronic circuit pattern in red all over it. So do you remember this one?
I sort of do, yes.
Yeah.
There were so many good ones.
And then also in Korea, she did this amazing matching leather jumpsuit moment with Timmy, which was designed by a South Korean designer, Jung Jae, I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah. Do you remember the moment they come out in those matching leather jumpsuits?
Do I remember when they both lock into pose? It's everything, you guys.
Everything.
Oh my God. I love it so much. Are they both wearing the same color, or is it different?
No, two different colors.
One was like a lavender. I think Timmy was maybe in it. No?
Yeah, she was in like a pale beige, kind of like a warm beige, yellow kind of color.
Yes. Yeah. And like, not that it matters for like this topic, but Timmy was coming off of the Wonka press tour as well.
Right. Yeah.
So like, he was wearing a lot of purple. So like, sometimes when I think of him in purple, I can't remember if it was for something else or if it was just for Wonka. But yeah, no, I don't know. There was some really good Wonka looks. But anyways, that's a different topic. I'll have to do that for myself.
You'll have to.
I know.
Okay. She also wore this beautiful custom 2-piece set by Louis Vuitton for the Paris premiere, which was gold and had this interesting pattern on it. And it had this like hood neck crop top thing. Also in Paris, she wore an Elia dress that wraps around her body. It reminds me of the white Fifth Element outfit that Mila Jovovich wears, right?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So as I'm like looking all this up, I'm like, okay, so they kind of did a Mad Max thing. They've kind of done a lot of, like there's a lot of Fifth Element vibes and like
so much.
It's interesting that they're kind of like taking iconic ideas from past very famous sci-fi movies, and maybe they're not like recreating them, but they're kind of, it feels like to me a subtle nod, whether that's intentional or not. But
and just like the fact, like the original Dune came out in 1980 something.
Yeah.
And there was like so many incredibly influential sci-fi movies that came out in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And the fashion is a huge element of it too. So it all makes sense that they would like take a lot of inspiration from like Blade Runner, Fifth Element, all of those.
All of them. And I just mean like the press tour looks for this were so good. And there's so many. I can't even name them all.
I know.
They're just all incredible.
A lot of premieres.
A lot of premieres. A lot going on in Dune World. She also did a custom Bottega in Mexico City. So this is like a mocha monochrome color. It's another 2-piece set. This one has like a long neck and was cropped so you could see her under boob. And then the skirt had a high slit. And the top of the skirt had this beautiful brown leather. Ugh, iconic. in Mexico City. She also wore a custom torju, which was the first red carpet debut for the brand, and is another two-piece set with all of these bunches of fabric wrapped around her and wrapped in like interesting shapes. They're like circles and like tubes, and it's all like wrapped interestingly. And
definitely one of the weirdest looks, but
one of the
it
weirder
still
looks.
worked.
And yeah, as we kind of already talked about, I just feel like all the looks have a Fifth Element Blade Runner vibe to them. Just this like perfect mix of high fashion and sci-fi. And like you said, a lot of the movies in the 80s and 90s, a lot of the sci-fi movies were very high fashion. And I think couldn't find whether that is an accurate thing, but I would not be surprised if they said that. Another nod to sci-fi films of the past is the big one from this press tour, which was the archival Mugler machine Mensch suit. It's German. I don't know. So, for those who don't know, this suit is inspired by the 1927 film Metropolis. Which was one of the first feature-length science fiction films. It's a full metallic armor set with silver panels, sheer plexiglass inserts, and corset-style details that hug the wearer's body. The body armor is jointed by leather and rubber, and a plastic internal framework facilitates its movement over the skin. The cyborg-inspired suit also features built-in gloves and silver heels to match.
Oh, it was so good.
It was crazy for the fashion girls when Zendaya came out in this because it hasn't been worn since it was on the runway in the 90s.
Oh my God.
Mugler was really known for her, like the sex appeal, and so the suit has the boobs, the butt, and the stomach cut out, which has like the plexiglass portion. So it's all of this like silver robotic looking outfit, but then the boobs are out because it's plexiglass, and it's like a cat suit.
Yes.
So Zendaya sent the Mugler suit to Law and said, "What if we wore this to the premiere?" And Law was like, "Are you being serious? Don't play with me. Don't get me started on something and make me do this, and you're going to chicken out at the last minute and be too scared to wear it." And then he ended up getting it. So one of the men who originally made it was there with them to try it on. And it was basically like, it can't be altered. It can't be changed. And it's such a specific... It's like a suit of armor. So it's like, yeah, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. Like there's nothing we can do about it. But then it fit perfectly.
Of course it did. Because she's
a model.
Yeah, she's a sample size. Like, of course.
Exactly. And she said immediately, I think after wearing it for like 10 minutes or less, I got really lightheaded. The metal conducts and holds onto heat very quickly and kind of traps the heat in. I'm wearing a complete bodysuit, so there's a barrier, and you already feel a layer of material kind of on your skin. As the days were coming up, I was like, this is a bad idea.
No.
But then she did it anyways. And I just remember the internet when this came out. Everyone was like, oh my fucking God.
It was insane. Like I couldn't escape it.
You couldn't escape it.
Like didn't want to.
No.
But yeah, and then like the way that she like posed in it, like she was like doing like the robotic like moves and stuff. Like, oh my God. Like she commits.
She commits. And like she's committing on theme and also getting these crazy archival pulls.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the power
of this little duo.
Mm-hmm.
And then Law even joked that it was probably the highlight of his career and it's all downhill from here.
That was definitely the peak. There hasn't been, I don't think, a better one since. That one was just like...
It was something
just
special.
Like, incredible. Yeah. Jaw-dropping.
Because it's like the historical context of the outfit as well.
Yeah.
Which like obviously, I mean, at the time I also didn't know about what it was. But then after like looking into it at the time when it came out and looking at it now, I'm like, oh, it totally makes sense why so many fashion people were freaking out about this outfit.
Totally.
So, but then they did Challengers, which came out in 2024 and is a movie about tennis. So it has a completely different aesthetic and vibe to Dune. And I feel like at this point, they've just got it locked down. They know what they're doing. I think every single Challengers look is good and spectacular.
Perfect.
So in order to go with the tennis theme, they get custom designs from Loewe, Jacquemus, and Tom Brown, and also vintage looks from Ralph Lauren, Vivienne Westwood, and Louis Vuitton. Vogue has a great article with just all the press tour looks, and I'm going to link it on Instagram or the podcast or whatever, because if you're into that preppy tennis aesthetic, this is major fashion inspo for you. Like,
so many good ones.
So yeah, for the Australian premiere, she wore this custom green sparkly Loewe dress that had this major thigh slit and a plunging neckline. And then there's like a projection of a tennis player making a serve on the dress. Simple, so cool. But like really good.
Just nails it.
For this press tour, she wore a lot of green because of the tennis ball.
She sure did. Yeah.
And then a lot of white because of the tennis whites tradition of tennis players wearing, white.
Yeah.
It's a thing in tennis. So lots of white. So another amazing look from the press tour was the Loewe tennis ball shoes. Ugh. So the literal tennis balls being spiked at the bottom of a heel of a white stiletto.
Hell yes. I want them.
Yes. And at the London premiere, she also wore a custom Tom Brown look that had tennis rackets all over it. It has like a polo tennis rackets. It's like this long dress that kind of has like the tennis skirt vibe to it, but like pleated. That's the word I'm looking for. It's like pleated, but it's like floor length. And I mean, there's just so many good looks. I can't even get into them all. We have vintage 1994 Vivienne Westwood mini skirts, vintage 1992 Ralph Lauren dresses, shirt gowns that are green and have tennis balls on them. I think overall, this one is probably my favorite because it just has my personal favorite fashion designers, Tom Brown, Ralph Lauren. I love you. And I just really love the preppy style. I just think totally so good. And then I wrote, I think the Dune outfits had a lot of spectacle because of the sci-fi imagery, but Challengers is really for the fashion girls. And then we have the drama, which came out this year, and that we already discussed because we went and saw it.
Yeah.
So the plot of the drama plays into the sequence of events, I feel, for the dressing. So the movie is about a couple getting married when Zendaya's character reveals something wild a week before the wedding. It's insane. So then for the press tour, they did a wedding theme where she wore something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. So for something old, she wore a Vivienne Westwood bridal dress that she wore to the 2015 Oscars. Zendaya said, "It meant so much to me, this dress. I think it was such an important moment for myself, for my community, for my loved ones. And yeah, it just felt right. And it also happens to be a wedding dress. So that works." She's so cute.
I love that look so much. Like the original look, like she looks so young because she was, but then that's just so special, like to, have like a different context to it, Yeah.
And then she's for the 2015 Oscars, when was the first time we saw Zendaya in the dress, she actually snuck onto the red carpet. She wasn't supposed to be there. And then the part of her quote before where she talks about it being an important moment for her community is probably alluding to the fact that in 2015, when she wore this dress, she wore it with dreadlocks, and someone at E! News actually made a racist comment about the dreadlocks.
Remember this.
So in a more recent interview about the whole ordeal, she said, "That's how change happens. And it made me think, how could I always have a lasting impact on what people saw and associated with people of color?" So I just think it's nice that we're wearing this dress with this context and giving it a new life. And everyone's talking about her and the dress so positively because of the method dressing and the press tour and like her being so much more famous now. I just think it's a good nod, nice nod.
It's like a full circle moment and probably really healing.
I would think so, yeah. So then that was something old. For something new, she wore a custom Louis Vuitton dress. The crew neck design featured long sleeve and princess seams that contoured the body. For added drama, there was a sweeping black bow doubling as a bridal train and an upper back cutout placed on the reverse.
Yes.
So Law said that the bespoke Louis Vuitton dress is the something new, acting as a nod to the classic Victorian era wedding adage. And I like that it has a black train considering the themes of the movie. So she's wearing this beautiful Victorian era kind of wedding dress, but then it has a black train that doesn't really go. But considering the movie and the dark themes in the movie, it totally makes sense.
Interesting.
So next is something borrowed. She wore a black Armani Privé gown featuring an embellished and very low scoop neck with these big stones, and it had this structural waist and visible pockets, which was really cool. And she borrowed the dress from Cate Blanchett.
I know. I would love that.
So Kate wore it to the 2025 Venice Film Festival. Zendaya said when they were coming up with this idea, Kate was one of the first people they thought of, and her-in-law loved when she wore the dress, and they were texting each other saying how amazing it was and how fabulous she looked. And then the opportunity came up, and they thought of Kate again, and then she said yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they just loved the look.
It's kind of random, but it's a great look.
Yeah. And then lastly, we have something blue. So for this, she wore a strapless Schiaparelli ball gown covered in black and electric blue ombre handmade silk feathers. And it was from the 2026 Couture collection. And then she also wore sapphire Tiffany & Co. earrings and rings.
I was like stopped in my tracks when I opened up my phone and saw this. I'm pretty sure we had just finished hanging out. I remember just like opening my phone and being like, oh my God. And then we weren't together anymore. And I was like, but I need to talk about this with you.
Yes.
And I saw there was like a prediction like only hours before by someone online that was like, she's probably going to wear this. And then she did. Like,
and then
psychic.
she did. Psychic. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, once again, it's really cool that it has a lot of black. And it kind of looks like the black is surrounding the blue and encasing the blue, and then it really does convey the darker tone of the movie, in my opinion.
Totally does.
So them the looks.
Them the looks, y'all.
That's
like, ugh.
So this year we have, I don't think she's going to do anything extravagant for Euphoria. I mean, she looked amazing in the dress that she wore to the premiere, but like, I think she's like so over Euphoria, in my opinion.
She's fully moved on. She does not care to put too much effort in. And
I think so.
I mean, I know, like, Rue definitely means a lot to her individually.
Yes, of course.
But, I mean,
the show
how
itself.
can you really... Yeah. The show itself, no. And you can't really show Rue through fashion.
No.
You know what I mean?
But then we also have a new Spider-Man movie coming out in July. And then we have Dune coming out at the end of the year. So I think I don't even know what she's got cooking up.
And the Odyssey.
And the Odyssey,
which I am expecting. I'm expecting armor as well. I'm expecting
Greek goddess
vibes.
I know it's going to be amazing. I haven't been disappointed yet.
Yay.
Yeah, that's it.
That was awesome.
Great.
Like, love, like, reminiscing on all of the incredible looks and just like experiencing the excitement on Instagram and just everyone sharing it with each other and just appreciating fashion, you know? It's a nice little positive thing in the hellscape that is social media. So
yeah.
Okay, so this is the last segment of the show where we just do our little this or that. It's just a nice way for us to just end it off on a silly note, whatever, and just concluding these podcast episodes is so awkward, so we thought this was like a nice way to do it, basically. Okay, so our this or that today, it is arriving 30 minutes early or 10 minutes late. And I'm going to go first? Okay. So if you'd have asked me this or that, like, years, like, before I've, like, been taking Lexapro, I would have said maybe 30 minutes early, just because of so much anxiety that goes into, like, just getting anywhere, especially on transit. But at this point in my life, I am going to say 10 minutes late, because, like, it doesn't matter. And, like, most people don't really care. 10 minutes is honestly not that bad. There's so many incredible excuses you can come up with. You can come up with, like, a really funny story. Most people are kind of just, like, they just want the story. They don't really care that you're late, you know? I mean, like, maybe if there's, like, a job interview or something like that, maybe don't show up late. But, like, there's very rare occasions where it really, really matters. And also, like, showing up 10 minutes late, that's kind of chic, you know? You're cool. You're busy. You're a busy girl. You've got things to do, people to see. You were somewhere. Like, you were doing something, and that's why you're late. So... I don't know. I mean, 30 minutes early is kind of overrated for me at this point because it actually would make me more anxious. There's more time to anticipate what's going to happen. I'd rather just be, like, thrown right into the ring. So
interesting.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
Mine is 30 minutes early for sure. Because for the following reasons. I hate rushing. I think it causes me more anxiety to do the rush. And especially like when it's at the movies or like if it's for a party, sure, be late. That totally doesn't matter. But it's like if I'm meeting up with someone at a specific time, if I have to be at the movie theater, like I hate rushing. And then you get there and you're out of breath and you're hot and you're like, it's too much. And like I'm totally fine chilling by myself in the elements out in the world. If I'm meeting someone at a store, I can just look around the store. Like I really do not care about being 30 minutes early. I'd rather that because I don't want to be stressed about being like that's the sound in my brain when I'm running late. I'm like
no, I know. That actually is so true.
Like every time you're late to the movies and you're like rushing and you're out of breath and like I'm like I'd rather just be sitting in that movie theater. I'm on my phone. I'm just observing. I'm relaxed. I prefer to be relaxed.
I know. It's happened so many times now where, especially when we go to like Scotiabank downtown, like that, getting to that theater is just a nightmare always, especially because it's like 3 floors. So it's like having to go like run up the stairs and everything. But like, honestly, when I think of it now, I mean, you're going to just like be like, no, but like 10 minutes late means I get to skip all the stupid ads. Like the trailers are just starting. It's a little stressful when there's a lineup and concession. But that's specific to just getting to the movies. Like going anywhere else, it's like, whatever.
Yeah, but like most situations, it's whatever. So at a time, at a situation where you have to be on time, the thing starts at 5 o'clock. You have to be there at 5 o'clock. I'd rather be early.
I'd rather be late.
Well, that makes sense, actually.
I think I kind of, at this point in my life, I enjoy the thrill a little bit. It's a little like, ooh, the adrenaline is pumping. I have the energy. Let's go. I don't like thinking.
I don't think.
Ugh, what's that like?
So I'm fine. I'm just like minding my own business. I'll be like on Instagram. I'm like, oh, there's a tree. I'm not thinking about the event or worry about the event. I'm just here, I guess. I don't know.
So jealous. Okay. Well, that's the end of the episode. Thank you for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a brand new episode. And that's it. Bye.
Bye.